Is this an addition?
Yes,
Okay.
and the agenda, that was added to the agenda.
Okay, so you
That's
have
what I
that on
gave
there.
you.
Okay, wonderful.
If you remember 2 weeks ago, we had that big list
Yes.
of items that we sold. Those were two
Yes,
that
for the auction.
got
Yeah.
got inadvertently missed.
So, when you sell it, huh? Out there, outside. You talking about? I have no clue. I have no clue.
Right?
Mr. Penbone, how are you?
I'm sorry.
Wait a minute.
Saying the first name. And I said something with Tyba last night too. Tyba instead of.
See?
Yeah, I just.
One,
I-
one,
yeah.
one thing added. That's all.
And the yeah, and you have the
Yeah,
resolution.
he has that. You have that resolution. Saturday.
Me? I think that Brian said Brian. I'm good.
I got her. Yeah, no, it's terrible.
Hey, how are you, my friend?
Mr. Rabbits, how are you?
Absolutely. Well, that's what they, yeah, that's what they named it.
Meeting, I'll call her. Yeah.
Son.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That's the best thing to do. Yeah. No problem. It was a great event, yeah. Yeah, yeah. How'd he like that hat? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he got out of there quick. Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. Why you want
Chief, how are you? How are you, Chief?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Hey, I'll stop over and say hi. How was the meeting? How are you? Good.
How are you, bud?
Good. Good. Any birthday?
Yeah.
See you, bud.
Thanks for your time.
Hey, Roger. We do invocation.
What's that?
We do invocation.
Hey, how you doing?
Invocation.
Sure. I can do one of those.
You should. By now, right? By now, right? Did you have your ordination?
What's that?
Did you have your ordination?
Oh, no, no, no. That's probably most optimistically December of next year.
Oh, next year. Okay. They're gonna
Thank
walk you
you.
for a year then.
Tomorrow's a crazy day. Friday.
Where did you do your work? Through Liberty?
No, down at they call it now. They call it the United Lutheran Seminary.
In Philly?
Well, it used to be the Philadelphia Theological
That's what I
Seminary.
thought.
Okay, but they joined with Gettysburg Seminary, and so it's now both of them are together as one entity.
So what is the one in
I thought this
Lancaster
was
now?
a plane ticket.
Me too.
No worries.
Not here,
I
go
know
fly.
this is the weather.
I thought this was a plane ticket.
Yeah, okay. What is the one in Lancaster called now? Because I heard that merged.
Honestly,
Speaking of the
I
devil.
see everybody.
I'm sorry?
The one in
Yes,
Lancaster?
yes, yes.
I heard that merged too.
Oh, it may have. It
Yeah.
may have. Yeah. Hi. Sure. Yeah.
Mr. Campos?
Okay.
How are you?
Sure. Yeah. No problem.
How are you?
Good.
How you doing? I'm doing well, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, we get 2 plane tickets. Wow.
This is where I'm giving out a farmer's market every Saturday and Sunday.
Thank you again.
What's that? Good, good, yeah. She was in
That won't fit on one.
Florence today. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I have it. Yep. No, I have one. Okay, thank you. I don't like these cushions. It keeps sliding out from under me.
You gotta know how to sit on them.
Oh, you're right.
Okay, it's 6 p.m. We're going to call the stated session to order. Please stand for the invocation and then pledge allegiance.
Almighty Creator, we thank you for this opportunity to serve. We hope that the city is safe and secure, and we hope to work for that into the future. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Ettinger?
Here.
Mr. Pinnabone? Mrs. Rose?
Here.
Dr. Ruggles?
Here.
Ms. Sultana?
Here.
Mayor Panto?
Thank you. We have approval for agenda, then we have gonna have a motion for addition to the agenda. I have a motion on the floor
Second.
and second. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Ettinger?
Aye.
Mr. Pinnabone? Mrs. Rose?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Ms. Sultana?
Aye.
And Mr. Brown?
Aye. Okay, at this time we have a change to the agenda. We have a resolution. Mr. Edinger, Council Manager, would you put that into the agenda?
I'm sorry.
You want to add that to the agenda?
Oh, the additional item.
Yep.
Yeah, I do have to add the resolution that adds 2 additional items to the list of city-owned items to be auctioned by Geyer Auctioneers. We had 2 weeks ago, we approved a list, a rather extensive list, and inadvertently these 2 items were missed. 1999 Chevrolet K2500 and a 2001 Chrysler PT Cruiser.
All right, is that a motion then?
That is
On the, and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Ettinger?
Aye.
Mr. Pinnabone? Mrs. Rose?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Ms. Sultana?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye. Actions on the minutes to be approved from the October 9th, 2024 meeting.
Move to approve.
And a second. Any discussion on that matter? Seeing none. Roll call, please.
Mr. Pinnabone? Mrs. Rose?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Ms. Sultana?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Ettinger?
Aye.
The presentation is taken off, correct?
Correct.
Okay. At this part of the agenda is public comments on agenda items only. Are there anyone from the public? Seeing none, we'll move on the agenda. Consent agenda, please.
Okay, we have the following items, addresses for a certificate of appropriateness. 524 Ferry Street, 121 North Bank Street, 323-25 Pine Street, 217 Spring Garden Street, 233 to 35 Northampton Street, 149 to 51 Northampton Street, 214 Bushkill Street, 26 North 3rd Street, 106 to 08 South 3rd Street, 157 to 63 Northampton Street, 516 to 22 Northampton Street, and 320 Berry Street.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. May I have a motion, please? Motion
Second.
and a second. Any discussion on the consent agenda? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Ettinger?
Aye.
Mayor, sorry. Mr. Pinnabone?
Aye.
Mrs. Rose?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mrs. Sultana?
Aye.
Thank you. No reports to receive to the council, reports to the committee, finance committee, myself. Last night, we had committee meeting and we had budget hearing. We went over the revenue and expenses for the general fund for the executive branch and departments. This evening, I have a resolution coming forward for the city administration application for a grant. That's all I have at this point. Economic development.
All I have, Councilman Vice Mayor Brown, is we did a press conference last week. On November 3rd, Sunday, I'm going to host the first Hispanic resource event at the community center on 9th Street from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. That's all I have.
Thank you so much. Planning and Codes, Councilwoman Crystal Rose.
Thank you, Councilman Brown. I just wanted to remind everyone, I've been getting a lot of questions about the warehouse proposal. Nothing new to report, but again, just a reminder, we expect it to be presented at the Wednesday, November 6th Planning Commission meeting at 6:30 p.m. in this room. Keep an eye out on the city's website for the agenda. It's not there yet. Also next week, I will be attending the Lehigh Valley General Assembly event hosted by the Lehigh Valley Planning Commission on Tuesday night. Kimberly Wagner, Planning Commission member, will also be joining me. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, public safety, Dr. Ruggles.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. I do want to remind everybody that the fire chief, issued a no burn order, no open flames in the city. We're in a very dry environment right now, so we will not have any burning, hopefully, and cause larger fires. The second thing I did want to say is I do have on the agenda tonight an ordinance which will approve a senior citizen tax rebate, and so that will be actually the last item.
Bill 25.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Public words, Councilman Edinger.
I have no report tonight.
No report. We have to wait till we have to come back to comments now. Administration, Councilwoman Sultana.
We just had a meeting to discuss some of the, we discussed the MART program, and more detail will be followed in next couple of weeks. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. And report of the solicitors.
You had to change chairs for that.
I had to change it because my mic doesn't go on unless I talk to my watch, which is a Mickey Mouse.
Oh, okay.
I have no report, but when Councilperson Ruggles' ordinance comes up, there's a couple things I noticed that I think should be added to this, such as, a clear statement as to where there's recitals as to the potential, a million pounds reduction in CO2, but I don't see where we have a clear statement as to where the funding comes from the tax rebate, language that would say that creates the cash fund. I have to go when it's red, we could go.
That's right. I put it in there.
Which are estimated. Okay, it says implement the use of hybrid cars as their vehicles, resulting in saving in fuel costs, which are estimated to be approximately $320,000 a year.
It's savings from fuel costs.
Okay, so and that's going to be measured from whatever's been budgeted.
I've checked with our people that are mechanics, and they keep very good records on fuel
Will you mic-
consumption
Roger,
on each vehicle.
Is this-
Roger, you want my mic close?
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Could I jump in, Joel?
Yeah.
So, well, I guess this is part of the report.
Yeah.
All right, so never mind.
Well, yeah, I just,
Could we have a committee meeting to dig into this and bring the mechanics up here and just show some of the report detail, just so we have a better understanding of it? Is that possible?
Okay. Well, I already had one of those.
I know, but let's, did we have it here at council?
well,
Council chambers.
I mean, it's not going to delay. If there's a couple of things that I'm going to suggest to tweak this, and we amend it and we postpone, you could introduce it tonight, but if we make substantial changes and we have to reintroduce, it's not going to make any difference because
Right.
this is only going to take effect in 2025.
That's correct.
That's
And-
correct.
and-
Well, the actual rebate would be 2026.
Right, and I think that's part of what I'm going to suggest. We have to be very clear on where the measurements are going to take from place to place, what the base will be, and then in the now therefore clause specifically indicate as opposed to the recital, indicate in there that the savings fund, define the savings fund by a formula definition, and from that savings funds rebates will be as follows.
Okay.
And that's the type of thing I'm talking about. Nothing with the concept, but just to have clearer definition within the ordinance.
Okay.
But otherwise, I have no report.
Thank you so much. Okay, here. We have nothing this evening from the mayor, right? So we're going to move on to report from the city administrator, Ms. Campos.
Okay, I have a few items. Number one is, and you had mentioned this, Mr. Brown, under your report, that there is a resolution for council's approval to allow the city administration to apply for a grant through the strategic management program. I do want to just take a couple seconds here and talk about that. The potential total cost of this consultative study, which is again looking 5 years into the future with different types of scenarios, could be up to $100,000. So we do have 50% or close to 50% of this budgeted amount in the budget for 2025. Just want to let you guys all know that. The Department of Community and Economic Development matches up to 50% too. So it doesn't mean that we're going to necessarily accept it, but this is a requirement that the Department of Community and Economic Development has as part of this process. So in other words, to have council acknowledge that they understand that we're moving forward with this. Okay, so that's
that
number one.
that's the thing that you were pointing out in a couple of items last night when we were talking about, this particular study could address those particular items.
Yes.
That's right. That, and also, the ordinance that you're submitting, so they'll plug that into the model to see how that would affect us. Okay. Secondly, on for approval tonight, and I do want to talk about this because there's a contract involved, is a resolution approving an agreement with Zephyr Parking Systems. All right. Our legal counsel did review that document. Let me talk to you more about the business side of it. So currently, with our parking system, what faces the resident in the city is still going to be the same. There's going to be an online portal, and you'll submit your records, etc. But what's been happening is that there's no communication with the actual parking system. So once that information comes in, right now, our employees take that information manually and input it into another system. It's inefficient. There's probably an estimated, and I round it down. So it's about 5 hours a week spent on that type of troubleshooting. So this could eliminate that 5 hours. There's still going to be some troubleshooting, but this will eliminate the 5 hours. I say that because the cost of this application, which is in the contract, is approximately $250 a month with an implementation fee. I'll tell you, we ran the numbers. Our time is a lot higher than $250 a month. So I just wanted to make sure I brought that to your attention. We did some analysis. We looked at it, and it's pretty simple. But there's a need for it. I would say that we're a little disappointed that there wasn't that functionality, but we have no choice. We have to now bring that into place because it's extremely inefficient. So that should assist us. Again, the resident, they may see a different screen, but the action of going to input something through, input their information to obtain a pass through an online portal will stay the same. So I just want to make that clear. Okay? Any questions on that? All right, and then lastly, I just had sent out a notice to council in the last couple of weeks, an article that was broadcasted through the community that the Ask the Bugler was enhanced up to 75 languages with this translation AI tool, but now, because the dominant language that we're seeing is certainly obviously English, but then Spanish, but it can translate to other languages. So it's a welcome in English and Spanish, and I've tested it. It works fairly well, but we have analytics and we can look at it, etc. And then the last thing, as I mentioned, we're going to be meeting with Councilwoman Rose internally to talk about all our communication efforts. This may be one of them. That may blossom into something that we more regularly update council on. So that's all I have for my report.
May I ask you a question?
Sure.
With the AI tool, are we able to see what people are searching for, so that if maybe we have to make some of those links more apparent on the website, for example, if we notice a trend of?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We're going to add that. We're going to add that to our agenda when we meet on the 4th, I believe, November 4th. Okay.
Great. Thanks.
Good. Yep. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Campos. We have no correspondence, unfinished business. New business right now.
Okay. We have a resolution allowing a third handicap sign on West Wilkes-Barre Street.
Motion
Second.
and a second. Any discussion on the matter? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Sure. Mr. Eddinger?
Aye.
Mr. Pinnabone? Mrs. Rose?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Ms. Sultana?
Aye.
And Mr. Brown?
Aye.
We have a resolution approving the city administration to apply for grants through the Strategic Management Planning Program.
Move.
Second.
Motion, second. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Pinnabone? Mrs. Rose?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Ms. Sultana?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Eddinger?
Aye.
A resolution approving an agreement with the Zephyr Parking Systems.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion on the matter? Seeing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Sure. Mrs. Rose?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Ms. Sultana?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Eddinger?
Aye.
And Mr. Pinnabone. A resolution adding 2 additional items to the list of city-owned items for auction.
So moved.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Sultana?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Eddinger?
Aye.
Mr. Pinnabone?
Aye.
Mrs. Rose?
Aye.
And Dr. Ruggles.
Aye.
And the last item is Bill number 25, approving a tax rebate for senior citizens.
So introduced.
Just introduce. You want to leave it there and come back with the changes then?
We'll come back.
Okay. All right. At this point in the agenda, we have public comments on any matter. Mr. Rabbits, you had a question. Could you come to the mic, please? Thank you. Please state your name and your address. I think we know it by now, but for the record.
My name is Artie Ravitz, and I live at 144 Church Street in Easton. First question I have to council is anything new with North Delaware River Drive and the sinking of the drive? Is that any news on that?
I have not heard anything unless the administration has. Ms. Campos, have you heard anything more about that? 611 and the retaining wall and the
North.
North, I'm sorry.
Not since the last update,
Okay.
no.
The second question on that issue, is it possible to make a token offer to the state and say, okay, we'll kick in $100,000 as opposed to the $10 million they're looking for? Can we make a token offer to get rid of that issue? Or is that a waste of time?
I never think it's a waste of time to ask the question, but I think it's certainly, we do, yeah, there's a match requirement, but we do have discussions with our our legislative representatives to help support us with the executive branch.
Yeah.
Because they follow the rules very closely.
Yeah.
So you have to go through your legislators, but we do talk about that internally.
see.
It does happen.
Okay. And the only other thing that I have right now is, what is the percent of tax rebate you want to give senior citizens? Not that I'm against it, I just don't have any idea because it doesn't state here on the.
We're going to be making some changes before we say that publicly now. Dr. Ruggles is going to take that back and come back with it.
Okay. So we'll hear about it next week, next meeting.
That's correct.
Yeah, the way it reads, my understanding is there was going to be a pool, and then anybody who's essentially sent in their application, so long as they're above age 65, regardless of income there's no other factors. So if you submit just like your homestead exemption, and do you only have to have one adult member over 65? I mean, that's another consideration to be eligible, because if that's the case, people could rent themselves out to, but they have to be.
You only get one.
There's only one, but they have to be. I assume they have to be a D title owner.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's the answer to your question. There's no idea. It depends on how many people. If you're the only person who applies and you have a big enough tax amount, you don't have to pay any tax.
The pot is going to come from fuel savings that we have
I see.
in the police department.
I got you.
Okay, so
And that's
for the first year, that's only 2 cars.
electric cars?
They're hybrids.
Hybrids, okay.
And the second year, we typically add 4 more cars every year. So
Okay.
second year would be 6.
Okay.
Ford estimates the savings to be around $3,000 per year per car.
Amazing, yeah.
So when this totally gets built out, which may be 6 or so years from now,
Bill,
that pool may be $100,000.
I got you.
And then the rebate amount will be dependent upon how many people apply.
Okay,
So we'll take the pool, number of people apply,
divided.
divide, and that's what your rebate is,
Okay.
up to the maximum, up to your total
Thank
tax
you.
liability.
My last question, which I don't understand at all, is, I'm gonna say this because I don't remember how to repeat it. The Astra Bugle to 175 languages,
75.
or 75?
Yep.
And could you
Ask-
explain that a little more?
Ask the Bugler. So if you go online to the website, or you can actually go on your phone, and you can also see that you'll get a pop-up, and it's a silhouette of the Bugler, and you can click on the link, and a welcome message will come up and say, "How can I help you?" There's a different message. I'm summarizing it.
It'll answer questions? you mean?
It'll answer questions, for you. So
Who answers the question?
it's the
It's-
artificial intelligence tool. It's through Amazon. That's on the back end of CityBot, which is the company that operates this tool for us, and we subscribe to it.
I see, okay. Thank
Yep.
you very much, thank you.
Any other citizen would like to speak at this time? Please come to the mic, state your name, address,
Click on it.
and you have 5 minutes to speak.
Hello. This is the first meeting I've been to, so hopefully I don't get something wrong. Sure.
Be kind.
I'm
The church
tall.
says that.
My name is Lenore Beers, and I bought a house on North Delaware Drive, 32, so it's just right outside of town. And I've lived there for 5 years, but I just bought it and closed on it in February, so now I'm the owner. And I have a 27-year-old daughter, and we both live there. We love the area. I am the oldest of 7, and all but 2 of us live in Easton. Many of us work in Easton as well. So we love the area, but there are a few things over in what I call the forgotten part of town that I have addressed with Dave Hopkins, and he's been super helpful in getting some of the things done that I've brought up. I actually wrote up a letter to my neighbors and put it on all their mailboxes, and we met Dave at what I call the triangle. So it would be the intersection of North Delaware Drive and Bushkill Drive. There's a small little grassy triangle right there. The one-way road that the Shammy Shine is on, it comes out right there. And we met with about 12 neighbors and Dave, and we went over some of the concerns that we have. One was the quality of life that we have with the truck traffic, the engine braking that happens. It's very windy. Just as you go outside of town, there's a real hard turn as you start heading up 611. There's a lot of accidents there, and they use their engine brakes when coming into town. Right now, the road is at 35 miles an hour, and I asked Dave if we could do a survey to make it 25 miles an hour for a couple of things. One, to slow people down, maybe not have to use the engine brakes, and also because we don't have a crosswalk from one side of 611 to the other. And there are families with children who have to cross to get to the bus stop. I have to cross if I park. The only place we have to park over in that part of town is on the Bushkill Bridge. There's public parking there, or on the one-way street that's Bushkill Drive. There's about 5 spots that residents can park on Bushkill Drive. And so if you're parking on one side, you have to run across the road without a crosswalk to get to your side of the road. And people, I have pictures that I'm saving in a file that maybe sometime I'll come with my laptop and I can show everyone, or I'll print off families, runners, a lady with a new baby, an old woman trying to get across the road. I have pictures of people trying to get across. So I'll bring that again if I come again. But that's something that I'm working on with Dave, and I'm hoping I can get support on that part of town. They're going to do some plantings in that little grassy triangle. Rob and Miranda are going to come and do some plantings. They drew something up, and all the neighbors are very excited. I have a multi-email out with the neighbors to kind of let them all know what's going on that Dave passes down the pipe to us. So anyway, we'd like the speed reduced. He did put up engine braking signs. We'd like a crosswalk, and I don't know how far into the engineering that's going. Also, the parking is a situation, as it is for everyone over there, but we don't have any tags. We don't have any way to pay, as residents to park over there. And now, you're an Easton resident. And so people who live downtown park over there because it's free for them, and then they just walk through the tunnel, which is by the Three Birds Coffee House. And if they live over there, I said, oh, do you work at Trex Bike? Because he had a bike. And he said, no, I live downtown. I just park over here because it's free. I was like, yeah, but I live over here, and I don't have anywhere to park now. So the parking is an issue, and I don't know how we can address that. Also in the summertime, we can have anywhere from 50 to 100 people from out of town, out of state come. Mrs. Sultana, I messaged you one time, and you said you would help with that, which was there's people down at the Bushkill. They kind of wind their way down, and they'll have parties down there. And I can't leave because there's no way that I can get back. There's no parking spots for me. There's literally 100. I have pictures to show you the 100 people there. And that's because Penn Pump closed, and there's police patrolling over there to say you can't come here, all day with your grills, your amplifiers, your fireworks. There's no trash. There's no guard. There's nowhere for anyone to use the bathroom. It's not a place for people to come. Dave put up concrete blocks to keep people out. That was really helpful. He's since removed them, so maybe we'll have them again next year. But there's some love that we want over in that part of town, and I'm just looking for your support to be thinking about us when there's grants that come up for arts or improvements for safety for that part of town.
I have to agree with you on that. Knowing that area very, very well, my grandmother lived in there when I was living in Philly. Was travel right there and on that blind turn.
Yep.
That blind turn, and she lived right there. So I'm very familiar with that. That you can't cross without taking your life. And as when tractor trailers come around there, it's also a wide blind turn for them.
Yeah, they honk at each other if they
Yeah.
go. Now they honk and they wait.
Yeah. So
There's a lot of blown tires over there, a lot of running.
I truly, truly understand, and I would also talk to Dave about that and see what else we can do with that area.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other citizens at this time? I did want to say one thing. We did talk about last night some of the properties that are coming out of the KO's these zones. So that's going to be a plus for the city going forward. At this time, any council member have anything else they want to say?
I want to make some announcements.
Okay, Crystal, then you please.
I just have a quick one real quick. Bacon Fest is coming up. I can't believe it's already here. It's going to be November. Saturday, November 2nd and Sunday, November 3rd. We are in need of volunteers. So anyone who's interested, including anyone in this room, please hit me up. I'm helping sign up volunteers right now. We could really use the help. And I also attended the Southside Civic Association's trunk or treat this weekend. I know Councilman Brown, Councilman Pinnabone is there, and our city clerk, Karen
Yes.
Gassioli, was out handing
It's good
out
to be-
candy next to me. It was a really fun event. The kids looked like they had so much fun, and just have to give a lot of credit to Melody Rogers, Patty Hitzel, and all the volunteers from that association. It was really a great day. That's all I have.
Councilwoman Sultana.
Yeah, I just want to make an announcement about the Halloween parade coming up this week, October 27th, 3 p.m. Another event is I'm hosting my second shoe drive on November 10th on Eastern Area Community Center. We received like a good response from the community, and there are more community members who would, of course, love to have brand new pair of shoes for their children. So we are hosting a second one on November 10th. I am also partnering with Feed the Street program. Their mission is to go to every area of the city and then feed people. So their first event is coming up on November 16, and we will be serving food in Safe Harbor and in Eastern Area Community Center.
And
It
that's
would
the
be
16th.
The November 16th, and it will be 11 to 4 p.m. And I would appreciate if anybody wants to volunteer, since it's for the community. And that's all I have.
All right. Any other council members? Seeing none, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion, second. No discussion on that. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Rose?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mrs. Sultana?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Ettinger?
Aye.
And Mr. Pinnabone?